Imagine a piece of software you use every day, say Apple Notes. You enter in your to-do lists there, your best ideas, thoughts for your loved ones, research on various topics. It's your second brain. There's stuff in there from 10 years ago you should revisit but forget, and other things you need to remember for tomorrow's meeting. For me, that's Notion. Notion is my second brain. Notion has been great for a multitude of reasons. Good formatting, syncing across devices, a multitude of plugins, and I can publish pieces, like my gigantic essay on the Crusades, directly in the app. I also do copious amounts of research for myself, my friends, and essays and videos. Thousands of links, images, and videos are stored in there. That is, of course, until one day a couple of weeks ago. I was editing my to-do list in there right before leaving on a date. My wife and I go play mini golf, come home and watch a movie, and then afterwards I head to my office to go get some project work done. Honestly, I thought maybe I'd been logged out or something. I reload the page, log in, and am hit with the same thing. Yep, I was banned. No warning whatsoever. No reason given. Not even an email was sent to tell me what had happened. I'd been given nothing to go off of. Over 1,000 hours of effort had been put into research, writing, note-taking, to-do lists, essays, all gone because, well, why exactly? Since I had no warning, no email, no "you have 7 days to remove this problem item," I had no choice but to reach out to support. Now, I'm well aware that in all of my research I cover conspiracy theories, religions, COVID-19, ethnicities, nations, politics, history, and that many of my topics delve into what is commonly considered taboo. This should give you the picture.
Bite your tongue. Hello.
However, in nearly all cases, it's just links to research on one side of a topic or another, and quite commonly both. My goal is to dig for the truth on these topics, and that requires going to the edge. And I get the edge is typically banned on social media, but not in my private note-taking app. Or is it? I reached out to their support email, explaining the situation and offering to delete any offending items. Anything to get my data back. After some back and forth with an AI, I received this. Okay, this is what I feared, however, it's incredibly vague. I hadn't made any sort of significant change or twist in my research over the last couple of years. Nothing remotely different inside the last 3 months. So what exactly was the offending piece of media? I decided to give their content and use policy a look. Holy moly, nobody ever reads these things, to be fair, but here's an overview of what Notion doesn't allow in your private notes. My question is, why whitewash non-public content? Here's a couple of examples of things I thought of just now that break Notion's terms of service. If you use Notion as a diary saying, "I hate my boss," that's hateful content. You're banned. If you use Notion to criticize, say, Israel, well, someone could consider that bullying. You're banned. If you use Notion to host a medical page to describe and display the female reproductive system and how it works, that would be graphic content. You're banned. If you use Notion to teach a hacking class, well, that could violate the malicious practices or hacking sections. Banned. Discussing working from home, gambling, making money online, sales, stock trading, or affiliate marketing are all considered potential bans. Now, I want to be fair to Notion. There was one piece of media, the Crusader essay, where I went about describing the history of the Crusades and arguments for and against them in great detail. I also showed what is happening in Northern Africa and the Middle East to this day. This included graphic videos of violence in places like Ghana, Sudan, Syria, and elsewhere. These were heavily censor warninged, but they did definitely break the terms of service, which at the time I was unaware of. But this came out 4 months before the ban, so it wasn't an immediate reaction, which is odd, and I don't even know if this was the reason I was banned. I also want to be fair. They're a private company. They can have any terms of service they want. That's totally in their purview. My question is, why? So long as it isn't illegal or public, why ban someone for hateful speech, which is incredibly subjective, or graphic content, which could be many, many different things? This policy is garbage, and you're walking on thin ice no matter what you write down. But good news for you is Notion isn't consistent in keeping their content policy whatsoever. Remember those examples from earlier? Criticizing and defamation? Those are against the terms of service? How about this one? Medical page showing exactly what I described earlier? Well, here it is up on Notion. Here's this one, covering hacking APIs. Making money online? Here's a public article on making money online hosted on Notion. So clearly Notion doesn't actually hold by their policy, but picks and chooses. Why me? I guess we'll never know. Important lesson learned. Keep as much of your data in your ownership as possible. Big tech can cut off your access whenever they please, without ever having to give you a reason. Just imagine it. Gmail, right? Apple, where all of your contacts, your emails, your messages are saved, could just be taken from you anytime. Thankfully, Dimitri from Notion was kind enough to give me 24 hours of access to export my data. I was able to get it exported, and thankfully I've been able to import it into Obsidian, and here I am on my self-hosting journey. I cannot stress this enough. Don't use Notion. If you're unique or interesting at all, they'll ban you, even if you pay them $100 a year like I did.